Every building where students gather, there's always the private space, which is kind of building community. You work, you relax, you engage with each other. And that was Wall Street Cafe for the School of Business in the Rich Hall. As the cost of serving kept going up, adjustments had to be made. The numbers started kind of slowly dropping. Then COVID hit, and then everyone knows that the return to campus was kind of with its own issues. So I think when we looked at that balance, the university leadership looked at the numbers. I mean, it's very difficult to argue when you were losing $2 for every dollar that came in. So it was a tough and painful decision for the university, but they did close the Wall Street Cafe purely because of it was not a viable business operation. And so just like other businesses come and go, Wall Street Cafe was done. When the cafe closed in the middle of fall, kind of a thing, students were upset. So those who really wanted to be patrons of the business, when they saw that the gates were down, and now you see you don't have an option, so you're upset. So the students came to me and they said, "Why is it closed? I mean, we don't have anything." And I, half in jest, whoever was there, I just asked them, "Okay, you think you can run it if we open it?" And they said, like, "Why not?" I had seen student-run businesses elsewhere where I had been part of, and I also seen coffee shops, especially being run by students in some of the other campuses. I said, like, maybe it's something that's worth a try. We knew that it has to be in the form of a course. There has to be clear-cut learning objectives for the students. We also need to co-opt auxiliary services because they own the business side of things. They paid rent for the property, etc. We also knew that we needed an executive mentor who would come in and advise the students based on that part of the business. We also knew the students, once they get in, would want some changes, right? So who would expect to do the same thing and expect superior results, right? So the students, which means we felt there was going to be some ask around modifying the physical space. If this is part of the plan, you can imagine how many entities are going to be involved, right? I made the phone call to Ed Albers, who is an alum who I know is always up for some innovation. It was the easiest of the phone calls I ever made for acceptance, because within a couple of minutes into the call, when I kind of laid out the proposal, he was in. He said, "Count me in. This is something that I would really, really like to do." I went to Irene, because she had also been independently thinking about, the cafe closed, we should do something about it, right?
I started a conversation with auxiliary services. The thought was, we have all these great business students here in Rich Hall, majors and minors, and what if we worked with the students and asked them for their thoughts and to reopen the cafe?
So there was clearly a meeting of minds, and Irene said, "Okay, we can offer the course. If you want to offer a course, you need the support of the academic leadership, which is a department chair." So we went to Ashraf, and Ashraf said, "Yeah, it makes sense for the students." He was on board. After we lined up all this, then we said, okay, now it's the time to go talk to the auxiliary services. I called Steve and we had a meeting, and we just laid it out, saying,
he asked if I'd consider an alternative, and that was, could the students actually run the facility, and could we make it into a living laboratory for them? They'll take this class for grade, and they will be making the strategic initiatives. So in this opportunity to really think about how you're running a startup, the advantage for them is I've already invested the capital. We will support them with ordering product, assist them with payroll, so they'll also have student paid positions where we will manage that through the auxiliary. We'll work directly with our team to execute the operation of the space while reporting back to the board. So they'll be responsible for making sure and doing business analytics, support staff, human resources. So if they're going to propose their starting wage, come up with pricing structures, do the marketing plan, traffic flow, all of these things that tie into every aspect of being a School of Business graduate.
But we need the blessings of the board, because it's an independent operation, independent of SUNY Oswego. Irene and I got together, we wrote a proposal, We laid it out. This is the academic side. This is the responsibility of. We laid out different people's responsibility. Steve went and presented it to the board. The board was on board, so they say, yeah, this is a great idea. Let's do it. And so it went all the way up to the vice president of finance for the university, who said, what's going on here? You might need some support in terms of money, etc. And here's what we would support you with. The provost on board, you had the vice president of finance on board, you had the vice president of students on board. We have set this great expectation. Everybody now wants us to succeed, so we have to do it.
And so we got the course listed. Our whole goal was really to inspire entrepreneurial thinking of our students, from our students, to have an experience, a live experience here in the building, here in the business school and on campus while they're studying with us. There were so many benefits to this. And so we successfully launched the course in the spring of 2023.
Now, the real heroes, I was waiting to keep that to the last. You might have guessed, that's the students.
When we first started out, we had to make like the job descriptions and the job posting, and then we had to get the application up and running on Applicant Pro. We then had to put the flyers around the school. We had about 100 applicants, so we had to go through, make sure everyone was actually interested in the position, and then get them scheduled for interviews. We went through the interview process, which was extensive. We made our final decisions, and we let everyone know that they were hired.
Payroll, it would be also writing some documents in the event that the next board doesn't have someone who's super experienced in HR. Making sure that they follow all the legal procedures that they have to. We want it to be fun. We don't want the cafe to shut down for some reason that, they just didn't follow the right procedure for something. So having some list, something that they can follow.
One of the things that operations had to do was figure out the hours of operation for the cafe. So like opening and closing times, gather all the data of the students and the classes in Ridge Hall to try to compute like the highest times, like there's foot traffic.
Any ideas that marketing might have, they might come to us to help us like bring the logistics into it. We work with IT, we work with like finance to like go over prices with them and make sure it's, feasible for like the customers and what they want. We go over the menu with them and see what kind of food they want or drinks and kind of order the inventory for that.
When me and Sarah were kind of discussing what responsibilities we do, we feel like it changes throughout the course of the project. The first thing that we had to do was get a lot of information from students through surveys to figure out what really we needed to put on the menu, and from that we had to create the menu.
We started reaching out to different coffee suppliers, looking at different products we wanted to use for the cafe, and then kind of just picking the financially most responsible option and the most reasonable options. It was definitely a lot of networking and then picking the best products for the cafe.
I am in charge of managing the social media page, which is our Instagram page, Rich and Poor, and I also enforce proper customer service.
I'm in charge of graphic, advertisement, and promotion creation.
Some things that we do is post weekly on our Instagram page about upcoming dates, upcoming promotions, or our menus, or any updates in general.
We also create flyers. If you can see, we created our logo. Also, during our grand opening, we're going to present some merch that we're doing for our cafe. Here you can see some of the examples of the t-shirts and the merch that we're going to sell this incoming day on our grand opening, and on the further semester we'll have different designs.
My big project was doing the student survey and then customer feedback later into the semester. So ensuring customers that are going to be buying products from the cafe are satisfied and that we're meeting the needs of our target market.
My job would be to maintain the IT infrastructure of the cafe, right? Making sure that our point of sale system is, running smoothly, making sure that we have an accurate or efficient scheduling system, maintaining whatever pieces of technology that the employees use, as well as what the board uses, right, in our meetings.
This opportunity just kind of put me in a place where I can learn and grow so much. The pricing part was the hardest part for me because you got to check on the whole market's kind of pricing. You got to do your own research, and then you got to include every costing included, and then you calculate the pricing minus the costing. What is your profit? Is it viable? It involves in so many departments too, right? Like HR team. So what about the labor cost included? Do you earn enough? How about the marketing team? When you set the pricing, then what about the discount? Would it be affecting too much? Would it be too little? There's just a lot of factors. With everyone's help, we come together and we work together, and the result is there.
And my expectation, I'm going to be brutally honest here, my expectation was, towards the end of the spring semester, the student and the class would combine and present a plan of action. Then about 3 weeks into the course, then I'm starting to get a sense when people are talking about opening date. They're not talking about a plan. They're talking about the opening date. Then I turn to Ed and Irene. They say, yeah, they have their break-even figured out. They have their sourcing figured out. And I'm looking at the marketing team. They've organized themselves so well. The marketing team is presenting options for logos, names. The sourcing team is presenting something else. And the finance guys are really talking about the prices, And it looked like it was a business that is waiting to happen. And I started getting a little bit more, hopeful, but still I was skeptical. But then after that, a couple of weeks later, I go to another class and they're ready.
So I've had a smile on my face since I got here, right? Just because you can't help it. This is what we do at SUNY Oswego. This is what we're hoping for, to get students this platform, to be able to launch into the next step. And the second beauty part of that is they're preparing the next generation to run it. So it's student-run, student-led, and it's not going away because they've got transition planning to do. We have each other to help each other, and I couldn't be happier to be here to see this come to fruition, because it's April 11th, right? This is amazing that this is done. This class was this semester. This semester's got another 4 weeks. Come on, give it up, right?
I mean, forget about everything. It's just to see the sense of pride in their faces on the opening day. I think it was worth every moment of time that we spent on this project. The students in that class are going to succeed like nobody's business because they took on something. They went well above and beyond the expectations. And they took a lot of pressure in the process because at some point they made it so big that everybody's eyes and ears were directed towards them. And they withstood that pressure and delivered on the opening day. And hey, they make good coffee also.
Excellent
So
coffee.
it's just a fantastic feeling.
The students have transformed. They have transformed into the kind of leaders that will walk out of here at SUNY Oswego and they'll run an operation. They will run a team to fully competent students, confident in their own capabilities. Really, I have to say, a privilege to work with the students and just as proud as we could be to watch them grow and develop and see them enjoying this experience as much as they have.
They were enthusiastic from day one. Startup of any project like this is not always easy, and I think there were some doubts along the way of if it could be done in one semester. They forged on and worked hard and were enthusiastic and took care of everything. We talk about a business, human resources, and finance, marketing. They took care of the operations side of it. They really dug in and have presented just a great project. Very, very proud of this group of students.
It was the entire Oswego, SUNY Oswego community, represented by different divisions, different leadership, different team members, different staff that came together. They got behind the students because the students wanted to succeed. And it's finally, at the end of the day, it's the story of the students that Rich and Poor is active in business today.